A very good morning to you. It is Thursday, August 13th. I'm Krissy Vann, and that footage that you just saw out of China there, actually have a friend who's flying out this morning and was heading to that exact area to teach at a school. So it'll be interesting to see how the situation plays out. Certainly very tragic. Developing stories, the extreme heat. We're going to talk about some areas that are going to be experiencing that. Pattern change on the way, though, bringing some cooling and the potential for severe weather. Let's have a peek across the current radar in the country. We saw some nocturnal storms moving through the prairies, lingering showers, but the bulk of that really big activity has moved out stateside. And then we are also seeing some scattered showers make their way through Atlantic Canada. Looking at the temperatures across the country, you'll notice all the heat in the west at seasonal or below to the east. And as we look at the morning conditions, in the 20s as we look to the west here. But I want to point out St. John's, 19 degrees, but very dense fog. In fact, we do have some fog advisories in place where there's near zero visibility. That encompasses right down through the Avalon Peninsula. In addition to that, we are looking at some special weather statements, and that's for heat, if you can believe it. The humidex values will be feeling in the 30s today. On the heat note, of course, that takes us to the prairies, where for the last couple of days, we've been seeing these special weather statements in the southern prairies, northwestern Ontario in a heat warning, as temperatures have been getting into the 30s, and with the humidity feeling quite a bit warmer than that. Meanwhile, as we travel to the west coast, we do have some wildfire smoke. Now, wildfire air quality advisories have been issued in the eastern Fraser Valley, but it's actually because of fires in Washington state. We have this southerly airflow, and that's what's funneling in particulate matter. Let's talk about the storm potential today. We do have the risk of storms developing in really just the north and central portions of Alberta, Saskatchewan. Also chance of some non-severe cells popping up in the BC Rockies and northwestern Ontario. But things are about to get a lot more active. We have this pattern change. So the ridge and the jet stream in the west breaking down. We're going to see this digging trough that'll provide cooler air and a series of low pressure systems working their way in as we head toward the weekend. Unfortunately, that's going to be bringing showers and thunderstorms. More details on that story coming up. Thanks, Rachel, and good timing for this advice as we are talking heat warnings in the country. Krissy Vann joining you on this Thursday, August 13th, as we look at the live radar. Storms dying down in the southern prairies, really just seeing some showers move through and scattered showers making their way through Atlantic Canada. So not only are we seeing the showers, but we have this humid air mass coming up from the south and kind of the perfect ingredients to create some fog. So from Burgeo through to the southern Avalon Peninsula, we do have fog advisories in place, near zero visibility at times, and we could see these foggy conditions persist over the next couple of days. Also special weather statements for the heat. If you can believe it, we're going to be seeing that humidex get into the 30s. Looking into Quebec today, we have some clearing for you in Montreal, lingering cloud and 23 degrees. Eastern Quebec, though, we are still dealing with some of those showers, as well as a risk of a non-severe thunderstorm. Thunderstorms possible in Ontario today. If you're traveling up through the Nickel Belt, we are seeing that potential of some isolated severe storms. There is a slight risk of tornadic activity, so you really want to keep a close eye today as well along the Huron shores, that potential of seeing some isolated severe cells. I feel for you because it actually physically hurts when it starts to pelt your face when you're going at, well, you're pretty much completely exposed riding on a motorcycle. Looking this afternoon, though, at least you'll be warm. Temperatures are in the 30s, and then we are seeing those humidex values getting to the mid-30s, and that's right throughout the west where we are seeing this heat. You can see in Banff at 28 degrees, Calgary feeling like 32, and the heat extends right through to our friends in BC. Vancouver at 27 degrees this afternoon, and the BC interior in the mid-30s. I know Lytton reached 40 degrees yesterday, so you actually broke a temperature record. The wildfires have been problematic. There is going to be a pattern change as we make our way through late week. So getting into Friday, basically what's happened is we've had this ridge in the jet stream, and that's just trapped in all this hot air that you've been seeing. But by Friday, that's going to break down. We're going to see a digging trough moving in. So not only are temperatures going to cool significantly in the prairies, but we are going to as well be seeing the series of low pressure systems moving through. So it's going to be quite unsettled as we make our way through the weekend. We'll break down exactly what you can expect weather-wise coming up. Good morning. It is Thursday, August 13th. I'm Krissy Vann joining you in for Nicole Karkic. It is time for the System Showdown, where we take you across the country and let you know the notable area in your area. So as we take a look to the West Coast, we actually have the potential of some storms development through the BC Rockies, and that's just courtesy of this low pressure system to your south. They should be non-severe in nature, so that is good news. Then we have this weak low pressure system that's going to be tracking eastward. That's bringing the instability through the north and central portions of Alberta and Saskatchewan. So we are going to be seeing some scattered showers and then the potential of even some isolated severe discrete cell thunderstorms. So hail, strong winds, heavy downpours, certainly possible with this system. But you'll notice in the south, things are quite quiet today. And of course, you're still dealing with the heat. That pattern breaks down late week, and we'll have more on that through the hour. Looking at our systems today in Ontario, it has everything to do with this trough that's going to be swinging through. So we do have the potential of storms in northeastern Ontario right through the south, but it's the northeastern portions of the province where we really have a lot of energy. Your convective available potential energy at levels at around 2,000 to 3,000, which is quite high. So potential of isolated severe there. Can't rule out some strong supercells with rotation. And as well, along the shores of Huron, Georgian Bay, we'll have to watch out for isolated severe cells that could pop up throughout the day. Making our way into Quebec, we are still looking at some lingering showers, just the edge of the system moving out. So Montreal, relatively dry with a mix of sun and cloud, but east of you, we do have the potential of some storms fueling up. Atlantic Canada, through the Maritimes, seeing some scattered showers, but the bulk of activity in Newfoundland today. Now we have air coming out of the south, and it's a humid air mass. So we are seeing some special weather statements for the heat, even St. John's included in that. But then on the southern shores from Burgeo through to the Avalon Peninsula, we're in a fog advisory, and those periods of dense fog have the potential of persisting over the next couple of days, just with the wind direction and that humidity hovering over you. All right, coming up at 13 past the hour, someone is going to get a personalized forecast and share your weather. A very good morning to you on this Thursday, August 13th. Krissy Vann joining you with our developing stories. More extreme heat where you'll find it, the pattern change and the cooling on the way, and the potential for severe weather. So let's break down across the country what we're seeing on the radar right now. Some scattered showers lingering the prairies after overnight storms, and into Atlantic Canada through the Maritimes into Newfoundland, we are seeing that shower activity. This afternoon, the heat remains through the west with that ridge in the jet stream, but as we look to the east, near or just below seasonal for many, and St. John's getting up to 25. In fact, you're actually looking at a special weather statement for the heat. Those humidex values making it feel like the 30s. Then Burgeo through to the Avalon Peninsula, fog advisories in place with that humid air mass. That's just going to contribute to the dense fog that we are seeing, with the potential of some for it lingering the next couple of days. As for the prairies, we are seeing special weather statements in regards to the heat still through southern Saskatchewan, southern Manitoba, northwestern Ontario in a heat warning. And that's because with the temperatures in the 30s, adding the humidity, it could be difficult for those getting outdoors and doing activities. Same goes if we look in through the eastern Fraser Valley. We do have air quality advisories in place due to the wildfire smoke coming out of Washington State. All right, we travel to Ontario now and send it outdoors to Kelly Noseworthy, where yet again, starting the morning with the jacket. Thanks so much, Kelly. I'm not a big fan. I was up in the Bruce Peninsula of Ontario on the weekend, and I'm still sporting some of those bites, unfortunately. Looking at the storm risk today, we do have the potential of some isolated severe in through the Nickel Belt, potential as well as strong rotating supercells, and through southern Ontario off the shores of Huron, we are seeing that risk of some isolated severe storms. All right, we travel now to Nicole Karkic with more on the heat story in the prairies. It's time for your Thursday, August 13th edition of Share Your Weather. You share your weather photos with us using the hashtag. Tweet it to @NicoleKarkic, or in the case of this week, you can tweet it to myself @Krissy Vann. That's exactly what William Krause did. He tweeted out Sunday morning camping in our son's backyard in Estevan. Of course, it's the summer season, the heart of the camping season, and sometimes we like camping with the comforts of home. Well, even better, camping right in the backyard, as you can see that they did in Estevan here, getting around the fire. Looks like some burgers, marshmallows, I'm sure happened. So William, because you shared your weather with us, you have earned your personalized forecast. 34 degrees and full sunshine. So luckily you're camping in the backyard. You can sneak off for some air conditioning. Of course, not everyone does the tent camping style. Some people like a little bit more comfort. With more on that story, we join Deb Medichka. Krissy Vann joining you. We're going to take a look across the country as well. Join Kelly Noseworthy and Michelle Nackey in just a moment. But let's look at the live radar. We had some storms that have died off in the prairies, some lingering showers. We're talking shower activity scattered through Atlantic Canada. Into Newfoundland, we actually have a couple of advisories and statements here. Special weather statement for the heat, St. John's included, where the humidex will have it feeling like the 30s with that humid air mass from Burgeo through the Avalon Peninsula. Fog advisories in place with near zero visibility. Looking this afternoon, you can see those scattered showers evident. Otherwise, just a little bit of increased cloud, temperatures in the low 20s. St. John's sitting at 25, which is, of course, excellent news. I'm going to break down the thunderstorm risk in Ontario in just a moment, but let's join Kelly Noseworthy. And Kelly, you're talking about my least favorite outdoor thing, mosquitoes. Thanks, Kelly. And is anyone else getting itchy with this mosquito talk? I'm starting to feel you just subconsciously, even though I'm not bitten. Looking today at the thunderstorm risk, we do have the potential through northeastern Ontario seeing isolated severe cells as well along the Huron shores. But Michelle, I'm sure that's not going to be stopping the Blue Jays' buzz.
Oh, you're absolutely right. They have been doing incredibly well. So the status is still not confirmed on whether or not it'll be open or closed.
Thanks, Michelle. Well, not the only place in the country we're seeing a storm risk. We'll break down the risk throughout Alberta and Saskatchewan coming up as isolated severe cells are possible. Good morning to you. It is Thursday, August 13th. Krissy Vann in for Nicole Karkic. Did you catch it? The Perseid meteor shower. This shot taken in Tulsa. I'm in southern Ontario, and on my commute, I'm fairly sure I saw at least one shooting star. So hopefully you were able to catch some of the show if you were in a prime viewing area. Developing stories, more extreme heat, the pattern change, and the cooling to come. But along with that, we have the potential for some severe weather today. Looking at the radar across the country, you can see that we've had some nocturnal storms through the southern prairies. Those have died down. Lingering showers, and showers continue to move through Newfoundland. A couple scattered showers in the Maritimes as well. We have all the heat in the west. That continues at least through today before that pattern change breaks things down. And then temperatures near or just below seasonal in through eastern Canada. Looking at Newfoundland, plenty going on. We have fog advisories in place from Burgeo right through the Avalon Peninsula. That's all due to that humid air mass coming out of the south, so those conditions could persist over the next couple of days. And we actually have a special weather statement in place for the heat, with humidex values feeling like the 30s, even for you in St. John's. Looking at heat story here, you can see in through the southern prairies, we still have special weather statements for the hot conditions and heat warnings in northwestern Ontario. The question is, heat warning criteria. Well, to answer that, it's issued when the humidex values or temperatures are expected to reach or exceed 40, and we've certainly been seeing some record-breaking temperatures. Lytton, BC actually broke a record from 1981. Look at Teviotdale, Ontario. Of course, they've been able to rebuild thus far. We do have the potential of some isolated severe cells in Ontario today. We'll break that down coming up, but with more on the heat, Nicole.
All right, quickly, we'll just look across the country here.
Thanks, Rachel. And we are seeing in the East Fraser Valley some air quality advisories. That's actually due to wildfire smoke coming out of Washington State. Looking across the country, some lingering showers in the prairies, scattered showers moving through Atlantic Canada. That is your story for today, along with fog advisory extending from Burgeo through the Avalon Peninsula, near zero visibility. And then we have special weather statements heading into the Avalon St. John's, your humidex values having it feel like the 30s. Bit cooler in through Quebec, Montreal, mix of sun and cloud, 23. East of you seeing the showers. Heading outdoors now with Kelly Noseworthy. And Kelly, we have been talking about mosquitoes and the itch. Thanks, Kelly. And I look forward to you being able to get rid of the jacket also. She's had to have it every morning this week. In through Ontario today, widespread thunderstorm risk, potential of some isolated severe cells. Could see some strong supercells in northeastern Ontario. Meanwhile, in Winnipeg, we are looking at it feeling like 39, and we've been with any speed behind you. At least you're warm, though. Actually, too hot for some. Temperatures in the mid-30s, humidex feeling it near 40. That's why we have special weather statements for that heat in place. And same goes as we head through Alberta into BC. Lytton, BC actually broke a temperature record yesterday at 40 degrees. That was a record from 1981. Safe. I know that you're no strangers to the heat in BC as it's been so hot and dry for what seems like months on end. But we are also looking at the serious situation of it. The water restrictions in place, the drought. So there is a bit of good news as we look ahead. We've had this ridge in the jet stream funneling in all this hot air. It's going to break down, and we're actually going to see a digging trough move in by tomorrow. Starts to make its way eastward. So that's going to do two things. A, bring the temperatures down. By the weekend, Calgary on Saturday, I believe, will be sitting at 18 degrees. Along with that, there'll be a series of low pressure systems moving up, bringing unsettled conditions and much needed rain to many. Thanks, Jacqueline. Krissy Vann with you, Kelly Noseworthy and Nicole Karkic. Coming up, quick look at our developing stories. More extreme heat, the pattern change bringing the cooling, and the potential for some severe weather. As we look across the country, current radar seeing some showers in through the southern prairies and scattered showers into Atlantic Canada, particularly Newfoundland seeing that. Temperatures this afternoon, all the heat in the west at seasonal or just below to the east. As we look at St. John's, you'll be 25 degrees, but the humidex in the 30s. Special weather statements have been issued for that humid air mass. And from Burgeo through to the Avalon Peninsula, fog advisories with visibility near zero. On the heat topic, as we head through the southern prairies, special weather statements remain, indicating those hot conditions. And in through northwestern Ontario, a heat warning as the humidex values near the 40s. Meanwhile, in BC, through the eastern Fraser Valley, we are seeing those special air quality advisories in place. And that's all due to wildfires that are burning in Washington State, if you can believe it. All right, so Kelly, mosquitoes, obviously quite problematic, and that's what we've been talking about throughout this morning as we join you in Ontario. Excellent, Kelly. Looking forward to those tips. All righty, so through northeastern Ontario, potential of some isolated severe storms today, strong supercells that could bring rotation, and through southern Ontario, widespread thunderstorm risk, but along the Huron shores, we could also see some isolated severe storms popping up. And storms have been the theme that we are going to be due for a pattern change as we head through late week.
We are, Krissy, but not for today. Look at these temperatures. We got.
Thanks, Rachel. And I want to take the opportunity to wish Rachel a very happy birthday on this Thursday, August 13th. Looking across the country, a couple systems that will be breaking down for you. One impacting the prairie provinces, the other in the east. As for right now on radar, a couple showers through the southern prairies, as well scattered showers making their way through Newfoundland. And in Newfoundland, we are seeing fog advisories from Burgeo through to the Avalon Peninsula, near zero visibility, and that same humid air impacting the east here, even St. John's, in a special weather statement. The heat, humidex values will have it feeling like the 30s. In through Atlantic Canada, mix of sun and cloud for the Maritimes, those showers in Newfoundland today. But where it was a cool start, we joined Kelly Noseworthy. And Kelly, you've been sharing some interesting facts about mosquitoes. Awesome. Thanks so much for that, Kelly. And later on, we'll also have to keep our eye to the sky. Northeastern Ontario, the chance for some strong supercells, could see rotation and isolated severe cells today as well along the Huron shores. We travel back outdoors now to Michelle Mackey, where I know the buzz has been great for the Jays.
That's right. Hey, I'm liking the wordplay you did there. Okay. But Krissy, the question remains, will the dome be open? Because, of course, we could be getting into some of that active weather a little bit later on today.
Very true, Michelle, with that thunderstorm risk. Be sky aware today, particularly through north and central Alberta and Saskatchewan. Risk of some isolated severe storms. Could also pick up some storms along the BC Rockies. And the heat continues. But for how long? Well, we'll be breaking that down in the hour. I will give you a hint. A pattern change is on the way. Details ahead. Krissy Vann with you, and the Perseid meteor shower continues. Did you catch the show? Available worldwide, but all depends on your cloud cover. So let's dive into the forecast details. Developing stories, we're talking more extreme heat, a pattern change to come, and the potential of severe weather. Looking at the current radar, we do have some showers moving through the southern prairies as well. Scattered showers making their way through Atlantic Canada. This afternoon, the heat remains in the west, where to the east, we're more around seasonal or just below. Look at that, St. John's. You made it to 25 degrees, but you'll be feeling like 30. Special weather statements in place for that heat. And then along the southern shores here, we do have a fog advisory in place. Burgeo through to the Avalon Peninsula, some very dense fog conditions. In through the southern prairies, we are still seeing special weather statements due to the hot conditions and a heat warning in northwestern Ontario. Warning criteria in the prairies when humidex values or temps expected to reach or exceed 40 degrees. Lytton, BC reached 40 yesterday, beating a record from 1981. East Fraser Valley, we are seeing an air quality advisory due to wildfire smoke. That's wildfires in Washington state. Risk of storms again. Northeastern Ontario, isolated severe cells today, and off the shores of Huron as well. We are seeing that isolated severe risk. We take a look at must-see video of Portage La Prairie, so showing the stormy conditions. And Nicole, we have seen plenty of storms rolling through, and heat as well continues as well.
Yeah, really hot across the southern prairies again today. I'll let you see these numbers.
Thanks, Rachel. And with the southerly wind flow, we are looking at the East Fraser Valley in an air quality advisory due to wildfire smoke that's originating in Washington state. Looking across the country, we do have some scattered showers through the prairies, as well a couple scattered showers making their way into Newfoundland. We're also looking at fog advisories along the southern shores, Burgeo through to the Avalon Peninsula, near zero visibility at times. And with the humid conditions, we're also seeing special weather statements. Will feel like the 30s. Over to Quebec, where Montreal, sun and cloud in 23, but further east of you, we are seeing the wet weather continue. All right, we travel outdoors now to Kelly Noseworthy, where you're still sporting the jacket. Thanks so much for that, Kelly. Well, if you love the heat, then the prairies is where you want to be. I'll talk about the heat there in a moment. I do want to warn you, a risk of isolated severe cells. Northeastern Ontario today as well. Along the Huron shores, we could see some isolated severe thunderstorms. Winnipeg, and we are expecting some storms today and through the central north prairies. We are looking this afternoon at humidex values in the mid-30s throughout the southern prairies. We have special weather statements in place for that reason. As well, Calgary feeling like 32, and Edmonton as well with that humidex. I do want to let you know, Calgary, by Saturday, you'll be down to 18 degrees. So soak up that hot weather while you have it. We individuals there that are getting outdoors doing those activities probably quite pleased. You'll be happy to know then that temperatures in the mid to upper 20s, Vancouver at 27 degrees, interior significantly hotter. Lytton, BC broke a record from 1981 yesterday with 40-degree temperatures. It's all going to change, though. By late week, the pattern changes arrive. So instead of that ridge in the jet stream, we're going to have a digging trough, and that's going to do two things for your weather. Bring temperatures down and a series of lows your way. All right, time for the must-see video coming out of Boston, Massachusetts. Thanks so much, Kelly. And I'm going to be talking about the heat in a couple of areas in our developing stories as more extreme heat. For some, a pattern change, bringing cooling and a potential for severe weather. So let's break it down. Across the country here, some showers through the southern prairies as well. Showers making their way in through Newfoundland. You're going to be seeing those spotty showers in the Maritimes. We have all the heat in the west and then a bit unsettled and at or below seasonal to the east. Looking at Newfoundland, you have a fog advisory in place extending Burgeo through the Avalon Peninsula, near zero visibility at times, and then a special weather statement as St. John's. You're going to be feeling like the 30s with the humidity. Speaking of all the heat, of course, through the southern prairies, we continue to see the special weather statement and a heat warning in place for northwestern Ontario. Temperatures have been in the mid-30s, and with the humidex feeling even hotter. In through the East Fraser Valley of BC, we have an air quality advisory due to wildfire smoke that has originated in Washington state firsthand. So it's quite remarkable how far they've come along. Northeastern Ontario, be sky aware. Potential of strong supercells developing today as well. We could see some isolated severe cells developing along the Huron shores. Alrighty. With more on the story of the heat, how long it will last, we bring in Nicole Karkic.
Thanks, Krissy. Yeah, and these colors just say it all. The hot reds, the fiery oranges.
An intense situation. Krissy Vann joining you on this Thursday, August 13th. Across the country, a couple systems of note that we'll be breaking down for you. Looking at current radar, though, just some showers moving through the southern prairies as well. Scattered shower activity in through Atlantic Canada. We also have dense fog and fog advisories issued from Burgeo through to the Avalon Peninsula, and it will be heating up. St. John's, humidex in the 30s, sparking a special weather statement. This afternoon in Quebec, we are going to be seeing some scattered showers as well, and in our maritime provinces, a mix of sun and cloud. All right, we travel outdoors now to Kelly Noseworthy, who's been kind of getting us mosquito savvy. Excellent, Kelly. Looking forward to that story. Be sky aware in Ontario, northeastern Ontario, with the trough potential of an isolated severe supercells popping up. Could see some rotation, and same goes for you along the Huron shores. Meanwhile, we look at our must-see video out of Portage La Prairie. Today, not so much in the southern prairies, but through north and central Alberta, Saskatchewan, we could see some isolated severe storms and a storm potential along the BC Rockies. As for the heat, special weather statements remain throughout Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and heat warnings in northwestern Ontario. That pattern is going to be breaking down as we make our way through late week. So yes, this afternoon, temperatures in the mid-30s, the humidex making it feel significantly hotter, but it's all because we've had this ridge in the jet stream. That is going to start breaking down as we head in through Friday. A digging trough moves in, and that's going to equate to two things: cooler temperatures, and in addition to that, we are going to be seeing a series of low pressure systems moving through. Already coming up, we are going to have Share Your Weather at...
It's great to have you here and along with us. I'll have your full detailed weather analysis just ahead, but first, here's Krissy Vann with Share Your Weather.